chance to look at the minutes?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
we did.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Morning, Jody.
Morning.
Already talked to your daughter this morning.
I feel like I need a mask in here.
Well, hopefully between Gerald and I, you won't get anything.
Did y'all not take your flu shots?
I did, actually, I took mine in November. It
Was
was
Carl in? Okay, this is Gerald. Tell me.
supposed to be some nasty stuff that we put in flu shot.
Cell number. Well,
Excuse me?
Must have not been very good flu shot for me this year.
yeah, he said that.
Now, one thing you read says
Okay.
the flu shot was gonna be more effective
Okay,
this year than
thanks
it
a lot.
ever was.
Is that right?
That's what they're saying, and then you turn right around and there's another statement saying, well, it really didn't work out like we thought, but they
Yeah.
contradict each other.
Oh, no, I took my flu shot. I'm good.
Good.
I didn't take one.
It's a pretty big payroll, isn't it?
Yes.
Wonder why it was such a big one.
The sheriff's office had their, what do you call it?
Where they get their, like, allowances for their
They're not
duties and all that
using
stuff.
They're not using sick
Oh,
days.
okay.
I did receive a bill from Tyler Tech, in regards to the outstanding. They have sent us a bill for $1,024. It's basically like a monthly installment payment if we agree to do it, and it's directly to them. We don't have to go to third-party financing or to the bank. With no penalties, no fines, no, basically. no
How long is
interest.
that installment payment for? I mean, it's-
Would be for right around 36 months.
So what you're saying is we pay $1,024 per month, 36 months. That would be our obligation to them. It's not a maintenance fee, that's for the
That's
hardware.
just for, this is for this says for the Microsoft server, the 2016 runtime. This is for $499 extended price. The Microsoft 2016 runtime calculations is $525, which comes to $1,024 a month.
Well, what's your opinion, what we should do?
Well, without having to go to third-party financing, which we know is gonna cost, I say we take this opportunity and go with it. And hopefully, this will work. And maybe somewhere along the line, if we can come up with some extra money to pay that and ahead, being that it was so far behind, they would be even more appreciative, I'm sure. There is no easy solution to this.
So with that being said, are you gonna have to, once again, update your budget request? Cause this would be different,
No,
no?
because see, the bill was 70,000,
Right,
and we paid 20.
that's
That
right.
leaves 50. And so I don't think we'll have to do that. Unless they have some kind of fee out there yet that they haven't disclosed to me. Which I should get an itemized, an exact item listing, hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, to make sure there's nothing left undisclosed. 'Cause I don't like undisclosed stuff.
Is Jeff and Gerald, or are you two aware of what she's kind of talking about there? I just want to make sure y'all know what she's talking about. I don't know if you want to kind of update them about the past of that, or how we got to this point.
Well, what I know about it is that Tyler Tech is our software for the county clerk's office and our office. And apparently there was, correct me if I've got all the information, because there was not a lot of information. Apparently the software package combination had not been paid for. And we received a bill of approximately right at $70,000 right before Christmas, where they were either going to want their money in full, or they were going to basically cut off our software.
Which was going back almost 2 years.
So we transferred some money to take care of 20,000 of it, which left us a $50,000 debt still. Apparently somewhere along the line, they had agreed to do some third-party financing with diversified lending. When you look at that diversified lending, by the time you paid the fees and the contractual rate, it was a lot of money. You might as well have gotten a high interest rate credit card and paid it when it comes to fees. So when I talked to Tyler Tech, they agreed to take the 20,000, not cut off our software package, so to speak, and then they have sent us monthly payments if we can proactively do that.
So we still owe 50,000, they're gonna charge us 1,000 a month, is what you're saying,
A little over 1,000 a month
until we get it paid off?
till we get it paid off, provided we don't have any. Now,
That'd be
we have
longer- That'd be
something,
longer than 36 months, so we'll be looking at,
provided we don't have anything. That's what I asked him to make sure that there's nothing left out there that they've overlooked or we've overlooked somewhere along the line, because, it started out at 103,000. So I somewhere still feel that there's something still out there that we're not getting, that we haven't gotten billed for, is what I think. But they've agreed to let us pay $1,024 a month right now.
until it's paid for.
Well, unless we miss one of these payments, and if we miss one of these payments, nothing's gonna change. That's just my guess, by the way I've talked to this gentleman.
And then what are they charging us a month now for the service, for current service?
Well,
Was that the $1,400 figure that I heard floating around?
right now, it's gonna be this 1,024, as long as we pay it.
Well, that's to catch us up on the other 50 though, correct?
I think what he's talking about is like the monthly maintenance
Oh,
fee.
that's what I'm waiting to get on, that's what I'm waiting to get the exact figure from. That's what I'm waiting to get.
So we're gonna have,
This, exact figure if we continue with them, to find out exactly what we have to have per month from now on to get caught up plus continue. Cause this was for either 3 years to 5 years.
it looks like it's about 4 years and 2 months at interest free, if that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, because he said he
To
wouldn't
pay
charge us
1,000 for.
penalties or interest for, basically to get caught up, which I thought that was a plus.
In your budget request, you asked for 35,000.
Yeah, that was to catch up for the 70,000 that we were behind.
So,
That was half of it.
right. So if we take that 1,024 a month is what you're saying that they're asking for now, that puts around 12,288. So you still want to keep that 35,000 in there for the maintenance fee too. So that leaves us roughly about $2,900 a month extra for the maintenance fee. So we just need to find out if it's below that amount. We can maybe adjust your budget request down. Okay.
But right now, I just wanna make sure that holds.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right.
And hopefully I will have itemized figures by tomorrow afternoon. That's what I want.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that up to date.
And then Fike and Fike, our taxing firm, we owe them $11,300 and some dollars, and they would like to have their money as well. I did send, I have a claim I'm sending through for like the third, cause it's split between the three offices,
Yeah, between the,
county
Yeah.
clerk, assessors, and
Right.
our office.
that's correct.
Hey,
So I'm
Carl,
sending through a
good.
third of my portion, but I'm sending through a
Carl,
third of a third.
up there at that
So like if I do a third,
educational building,
Right.
there,
county
the
clerk
old
does a
Pepsi
third,
building,
Gary does a third,
Sure.
that'd be like,
they're about Old
Third.
Town Market.
Okay.
and I think they'll be okay with
They've
that,
got some,
just so long as they get something
uh,
as well,
door,
just to kinda keep them all happy
computer
at some
thing,
point.
and it tells if that door is shut or not.
Cause we have to, and I talked to the sheriff's
Uh,
department about
it's
some of
giving
these
them a
bills
false
as
reading,
well,
would you,
Yeah.
and,
would you want to look at it?
John.
so,
See if
yes.
you can figure it out. They
so
said
I
one
have
door,
I went to the
that
county
trash
clerk's office
bar
and
was
pulled
missing some pieces
several of the
that
bills to try to get,
maybe,
few of them
maybe
paid.
laying there. or
Well, it
something.
looks
I
like,
don't
to
know.
me, I went through looking in, January, there were some food bills paid in
No,
January, US
no.
Foods and some other
Just when
ones.
you get changed.
yes, but there's still several out
That'll
there
work.
now, and I
Okay,
pulled
Just go in
them,
there,
hoping that we have a little
that
extra
teacher up
cash to
there,
pay
who
a
you want to
few
talk
more.
to?
But there's
Some
still other
time-
things that like
The
have to be
teacher.
paid.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
have some other things have to be paid
I
too,
can't think
Yeah.
of the name, but,
so
yeah, and,
what I'm trying to do
if you fix it,
is
whatever,
make
or
it where
when
if
you know,
we
when
can
you
pay
get your
like
time in, just give me a call and we'll.
a few
settle
of the
that.
older ones
I think
at a
it is.
time and just kind of work them down eventually to get them caught. They'll never be caught up all the way because by the time you pay one, you have another one coming in, so it's never going to be caught up. But just to get the older ones out, it's just going to be a work in progress. Got to play catch up, and that's going to be hard to do, especially with these being so far behind.
Yeah.
And we got another payroll coming up at the end of the month, so, as well, so. I do have all the information for the 2017 data. I put a call into Crystal to see if she can come by in the morning. Hopefully she'll be able to come by tomorrow, if not the first part of next week, and we can finish out the 2017 data that was due first part of 2018, get that finished up. And then, I have the information for the 2018 data that maybe we can go ahead and finish up and get that done and out of the way. And that's about all I have.
I was going through the printout for January 1st till the end of the year, all the revenue sources, money coming in. You know, by your all's printout, it looks like there was about 5.4 million came in over the year, but some of that you have to back out because some of it's for FICA reimbursements and things with our salaries and things like that. But our fees and overall everything's up. You know, with all of our reimbursements, I mean, we have over $300,000 in salary reimbursements that we get for the different offices. State's attorney's fees was $331,000. The grant that the state's attorney's office get, $16,700. Then just with our between our state income tax, replacement tax, sales tax, local use tax, and other things, there was about 2.7 million. County clerk fees was 100,722. Circuit clerk fees were 402,000. The sheriff's fees were lower than it has been in the past. They were 97,684. And IEMA had the grant come in. It was 19,606. So,
19.
so you know, we're just going to have to continue to work and
There's also
make sure we track this
There's also $105,000 still due to Williamson,
on probation.
on probation.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it should be there. It's just getting it into general fund. So, you know, we just just need to look through all these different accounts and look at them. So, what'd you say? Something on the grant, is it what you, how much, the IEMA grant was 19,606. Yeah. You got anything else?
Maybe one of us should buy a lottery ticket and win it.
Yeah, maybe so. Sheriff, you were going on?
Christie at State Attorney's Office, she said she was gonna write a letter to Ms. Biggerstaff about the grants, and maybe she could help clear that up too.
Yeah, I talked to Josh yesterday. He said she was working on it. The way I understood it, the government shutdown, rural development shut down right now, so the grant could move forward anyway. Yeah, so as long as we just get everything completed before that, before the government shutdown ends.
We might have a year for that.
Yeah, so, how long did that take? You got full? Yeah, you know, I was just talking to them about fees and stuff for each office. You wanna explain why your fees are down? I mean, I think we understand why, but just let the
Our
people
main source of
understand.
revenue for the fees was housing out of county prisons. So you got 40 beds, we got 40 Massac County inmates occupying them. You can't house them out of county prisoners.
Right.
We might have one or two a week over there, but they're all from Massac County. And most of that started when they redid the bail laws last year, giving people credit for $30 a day. That helps them get out the door the first time, but when they come back for failure to appear, they don't get that $30 a day credit, and nobody shows back up for court. So everybody gets a warrant, we go pick them back up again, and now they sit. Even if the bond's $500, nobody's got $500, so they just sit there. And I don't foresee that getting any better.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better. won't it? It's out of your control, out of everybody's control.
You can't just turn them loose and let them in the streets, because they'll just keep breaking the law.
I seen you all made an arrest pretty quick there in Joppa.
They did, last couple weeks, they made some good arrests. We've had a few more out there, but they've been doing some good work this week.
Anything else going on?
I think as far as the highlighted bills, if you could tick off some of the food vendors,
Yeah.
that's the one that John's having the biggest trouble with. He's pretty well maxed out credit for food vendors.
Yeah, he talked to us yesterday, or Monday, I think it was. Tuesday. It seems like we haven't stayed caught up as well last month or so as we want
Last
to.
couple of months.
We're struggling to get the revenue, it seems like.
Is it coming in or just not there? Or?
It's coming, I don't know. I can't answer that for you.
You know, it was December, everything was caught up. since December, it's, so obviously something's, I mean, the revenue just didn't drop off right there. There's something, wouldn't you agree? I mean, there's gotta be
You just
something,
gotta find it.
Yeah.
there's something that's not being transferred, the money's gotta be there. It's just not,
Hopefully we get better.
That's all I got.
okay, we're working on it. Thank you, Ted.
So it's down.
Yeah, which we know why that is. Nothing we can do about that.
Medley said he'd go up there tomorrow. Lifting doors.
Thank you, Gerald.
I think what we should do, any of us, go over there and just sit down with JJ, look at the, get her to type in those certain account numbers on the left. And she could tell you more about it, more in depth
Will it
about each
show
one.
how much is in each one then?
Yeah, and where that money was coming from, and what it represents. We haven't used that system in the past.
I got a printout from Sandra on what's come through the courts.
Yeah, on the
Well,
tickets.
on the tickets, and she didn't understand exactly what I was wanting there. I meant to ask her, what I actually asked her is where that money, which account that money went into.
Right.
That way I could look at this and see where, cause we could match them up and see exactly where the traffic court money went. And what of that money was able to go to the general fund and what money was not able to go, and what money of that is going to the general fund and where it's hidden at. 'Cause
Josh and I went and talked to her yesterday because document storage right now has 246,000 in there, and automation has 317,000. So you got about 600,000 between them both, and they continue to keep rising. But I mean, she utilizes some of that money for her office that is within the law. But right now, $15 per ticket or how it's recorded is going in there for each account. So I think what we're asking her is if we could get $5 from the document storage and $5 from the automation to go into general fund, and we figured that would help us about $90,000 per year. So that's something that I think Josh is going to work on some paperwork for us to approve at some point. I think that'd help us.
it won't leave her short, but it'll.
Yeah, and that's the main
the
thing.
overabundance that she's got would
Yeah.
come to the general then.
That's the main thing. We just didn't want to take away from her account, but if she could continue to stay, balanced there and equal, and do the things that she needs to do out of it. It'll help both of us out.
Was she open to that?
Yeah, I think so.
Per ticket, I believe, right?
It's her. Yeah, I don't know if that's the proper way for me to say. I'll have to find
Per
out.
citation, or per transaction.
Yeah.
Rock a week ago Tuesday, and as expected, Shawnee Stone was the lowest on everything. So we have a resolution typed up to accept all the unit prices that they've given us. CA16, which is our chips that we use to oil and chip with, went up 15 cents a ton, which is quite a big jump. And CA6 went up just a nickel a ton.
It usually does every year a little bit. 15 cents on the others, kind of.
15's pretty steep, and nickel's pretty. I was expecting something a nickel and a dime, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. And
But they
of
would
course,
still be the cheapest.
you can read some of the others, but I didn't bid out just everything, but these are the gradations that we bid out. We'll look at it here. Gerald, you want to see it? Well, you have to give it to Haley first, because if you guys vote on it, she has to sign it.
Jeff, have you coughed on yours yet?
No.
I'll sign it like this. Or I'm gonna get my stamp.
Gerald, he's good.
So you got any questions on it?
I do not. It's all high. But they are the closest to. That'd be another thing. If somebody else come in cheaper, you'd have to do the math on the miles.
Yeah, well, I mean, the others, I've got their other bids here, the other significantly higher. I mean, on everything, I wonder if they don't all get together.
That would,
You know, like for instance, Anna Quarries, it's $10.15 on chips. And Southern Illinois Stone was $10.25.
I'm sure they probably.
So, I mean, and it pretty much followed down the list. I mean, they were that much more expensive on just about everything. So, just except the low.
That's the lowest and that's the closest. So. Let's do a long, boring drive. What are you looking at?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution as written for
I
the
second
2019 rock bids.
I second that motion.
You sign all 3 copies of it, and I'll use stamp. I just gotta send it into IDOT.
That address of the road that those people had talked to us about last Friday, 5307 Midway Road.
Midway? Is that on, you know where it's at? Is that on?
Gerald's drove down it. and told me about it.
Between Country Club Road and the interstate, or on the other side of the interstate?
No, it's on the south side of the interstate.
Okay, so it's that little section between.
Did you say you want me to sign all 3 copies?
Yeah, yeah.
It's still got gravel on it.
It's pretty bad shape though, it needs to be graded.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let them know.
Purcell Road, same way. So they went down in an actual car, it gets stuck, it's that deep, top of the hill.
Ruts, you mean?
It's
unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait until after this weekend to do anything.
Yeah,
Work.
and that's what keeps causing, you know, freezing and thawing, it's just gonna be a mess, obviously, but just letting you know, that's,
We've been trying to, and that's, I guess philosophies differ. I tend to not wanna grade at all in the winter time sometimes because it's just it's so wet in the winter, every time you open one up and then it rains, it makes it twice as bad. But when you got people calling about how potholes and everything else, it's kind of, we're in a rock and a hard place there either.
How bad's that one, Gerald, that you went with that?
The one on,
Midway?
it's bad.
you say it's like pit gravel on it.
We'll try to get, hopefully we'll get some, dry time next week and maybe get to them then, after this weekend. I don't know, they're calling for a couple inches of rain possibly and maybe changing over to snow. I haven't heard what the forecast is, if we're planning on any winter storm here or not, but
It sounds like it's gonna get super cold.
it's kind of like up in the air right now as to whether or not it's going to change over that cold soon enough to cause slick roads or not. I don't know.
Probably on Monday and holiday.
Oh, it's Saturday. Yeah. Saturday is the going to be the brunt of it, but if it gets that cold on Sunday and it snows several inches, yeah, we may have to be working Sunday and hopefully not Monday. Weekends are just time and a half. Holidays is double and a half, I think. Next Thursday, I'm having the oil bid. So the following week after that, I'll have the same resolution written up to accept oil bids. I have put together, a little prematurely, some costs on what it would cost to oil and chip a gravel road. I know you guys get called about this from different people every single year about wanting their road oil and chipped and how much it costs and everything else. The costs that I put together here are based on an assumption. It uses the new rock prices, but it does not use the new oil prices. I just assumed that it would be more expensive this year by about the same percentage as the rock raised. So it could be more or less. I could modify it, but in a nutshell, this is gonna get us in the ballpark of what I'm talking about, and I wanted to give it to you so that you guys can kind of understand where we're coming from, and if you have any opinion on wanting to have any input on what we charge people, I'd be open to it, but I've separated it out into so many different steps here because we're not making any money on this. If we charged the highest number here, that would just be recovering our cost if we did that. But as you see, if we did that, it's immensely expensive. And I'm telling you, this is based on how much it would cost us to, haul the materials in and to put it down. This is the very bottom number there is probably what it would cost if you hired a contractor to do it. Okay, maybe a little bit less because contractors like to make profit. We don't really deal in profit. This is just our cost. But in the past, I know I've taken a lot of flack for it. I'm sure you guys have taken a lot of flack for it. That in the past, when we used to oil and chip roads and people paid for it, it seems like 10 years ago, all they would charge would be the raw material cost for the oil only. Did not charge any money to put down any rock beforehand, didn't charge any labor, didn't pay for the chips, didn't pay for the labor to do the oil and chipping. That's why back then it was only $1 and something a foot to do it,
Now it would be $375. Is that the one that would get out?
just for the raw material for, that's the oil and the chips, but yeah, that's kind of comparatively how much the materials have actually gone up.
Okay.
But see, in the past, they never recovered any costs that would cost us to haul materials in or to actually do the job. Okay, so if you recovered all of it, as you see, it would be just so expensive. It's almost embarrassing to even ask somebody for that. I mean, $12.71 a foot, $67,000 a mile. I mean, that's, I know it was like the gentleman you had asked me to call the other day, that's about a quarter mile, so, it'd be, 67,000 divided by 4, I mean, whatever that turns out to be, so, almost 20-something thousand or whatever, to do a quarter mile of road. I mean, I know I wouldn't even consider doing that if it was me. The reason why I'm bringing all this up is if we want to collectively talk about it and decide on a path to charge people less than recovering it all. Because, being 100% completely honest, oil and chip and roads helps us out too. Okay, it is much higher, much more expensive, much more trouble to maintain a gravel road than it is an oil and chip road. So I like to have roads oil and chipped as much as anybody. It's just that people ask why we don't go out and do it fresh from scratch, why we don't go out in the county and oil and chip and gravel roads. This is the reason why. This is what it cost us. I mean, when you consider $67,000 a mile, I mean, how much money do we have in our budget? I mean, that's why we don't do it. We've got 120 miles of gravel road in the county. Even if we decided to oil and chip half of them, you're still talking $2 million to do it. I mean, we don't even come close to having that kind of budget. We spend maybe $200,000 on materials a year. I mean, and that's, so that's the reasons why we don't do new roads anymore because of the cost. But, setting a price to charge somebody. So if somebody calls you on and say, hey, I really want my road oil and chipped, what would it cost me? Well, we want to decide on something, and I'm not for charging them the full amount. I mean, it'd be great if we could, and I'd love to recover all the costs back so that it wouldn't cost the highway department anything. But I'd be willing to kick, as far as our labor and stuff, in my opinion, I'd be willing to kick in some money there to actually have that done because, as I said, it's a benefit to our department as well. And it's just a benefit to the whole county. So, with that all being said, my opinion on the fair number would be the second number, just charging for the materials, the delivered materials, and us providing all the labor. That would be my opinion of the fair number. However, it's still very expensive. Not gonna lie. So, I'd love to hear your input on it.
I don't think we'll ever have to worry about anybody wanting to have a mile of road done out of pocket.
No, I mean, well, I don't know what her name is now, but the Legore woman, the one that was married to Robert Legore.
Oh,
Yeah, they used to be Kickasola. I don't know what her new name is. She asked about doing Kickasola Road out there where they bought all that property, and it was over a mile long. And the price I quoted her a couple of years ago wasn't even near $67,000. It was like $45,000 because I wasn't.
she fainted.
Yeah, well, she didn't faint, but she was just like, I don't know about that.
It's a lot of money to pay whenever it's going to be used for public. It's not your own driveway,
Exactly, and there's no guarantees, and that's the other thing. There's no guarantees that we're even going to be able to keep it up to the level that people think in the future.
Yeah.
And that's that's another negative about this, when people tend to think in their mind, well, if I'm paying this amount, it's gonna be that way forever, and the county, I don't care, they're gonna have to keep it up the way I think it ought to be kept up, and that's not the case. You know, we just don't have the money to do it every year, you know, we're gonna bare bones it. I mean, you see what's I mean, so far, knock on wood, our roads are, in my opinion, in pretty decent shape compared to our surrounding counties. You drive over to the oil and chip roads in Polk County or in Pulaski County, and they, plain and simple, just suck compared to what we
There's
have.
not many oil and chip left.
Yeah, I mean, so, but that's one of the things where I've kicked around the idea of just saying to people that we don't do that anymore. We're not going to do it anymore because of that fact. And believe me, people that have paid for it in the past, heck, it didn't matter if they did it in 1978, or I'm exaggerating there. I don't think we charged back then, but I mean, I know back when Larry Glasgow first became county engineer in like 86 or 87, shortly after that, they started charging people, and people bring that up. Well, 28 years ago, why we paid to have this oil and chip. We ain't gonna see it go back to gravel. You know, it's like, dude, the money that you paid back then couldn't even buy a load of rock anymore. I mean, so that's kind of the dilemmas that I deal with on a daily basis when people call me about these things and get aggravated and want us to recoat roads and fix things. I mean, we do things to the best of our abilities, but I'd say a fraction of the time it may meet somebody's expectations. I'd say less than half the time it meets expectations of people. So you don't even have to say anything today if you don't want. I just wanted to kind of let you in on what our costs are and where we stand, and maybe moving forward with a plan to, you know, if somebody does want a road, what do I tell them? You know, my opinion is to go with the delivered materials cost, and we would furnish the labor to do all this.
You could probably pick any of those numbers there and tell it, and it's gonna be the same answer whichever way you go, so it's really not gonna make a difference, I wouldn't think, because I could come and ask you, and you could tell me the top one, the middle one, or the bottom one, and I'd tell you you're crazy, there's no way. So, I mean, I think that'd be the general consensus across the board, if anybody that's.
Yeah, but I mean, that's if you're doing a mile. But I mean, if somebody wants to do 600 feet or 700 feet, you know, it's feasible for somebody.
Yeah, that would be a lot more feasible than the $67,000 range.
But, you know, 600 feet at $12 versus 600 feet at $6 is a huge difference.
Oh, yeah,
So,
double.
and if you split the difference at 10, I mean, you're talking, you know, even at the 10, I mean, it's crazy to think, you know, if you want 600 feet of road, oil and chip, to pay $10.32 a foot, that's $6,200 for 600 feet. You know, it's crazy, but, you know, that isn't even what it costs us. That's only a partial amount of what it costs us to do it. If you don't have any input, it doesn't matter. If you want me to choose, that's fine. I will. I'm with you though. It's probably going to end up all the same way. Now, we're not going to do it.
Nobody's gonna obviously do it a mile, but like you said, 600 feet, that may, you know, somebody may ask to do that. I could see if I lived on a gravel road, that would be somewhat affordable if you didn't want gravel on your house, gravel up. But like you said, it'll help you guys in the end. And so which number would you go with, the total raw or total materials delivered? What do you think, Jay?
I agree with what you say. I mean, whatever it is, it's going to be more than what a person wants to spend. How many feet per year are you getting requested now that people follow through, actually pay for it too?
Did about a quarter mile last year, maybe.
How about the year before?
What do you think, Drew?
The year before, for a few
It's all
years there,
high.
we didn't do any.
So it doesn't seem like there's a
There's not a
whole lot of people that follow completely through with it.
No, usually when people call and ask me the price and I give them a roundabout price, they, I guess, are gasping for air when we're done with the phone conversation and I never hear back from them.
Right.
You know, like for instance,
I mean, I would rather,
Nancy Yates, she's asked me probably every year I've been here, how much it costs to do their little gravel lane, and every year, no. It's like, well, it's not gonna get any cheaper, Nancy. You know, I told you last year.
I would probably rather, you know, work with a lower price, because you said that it benefits the county long term,
So
you know,
Total raw material price.
the raw material price.
but, you know, somewhere in between maybe 6 and 10, but
I'm okay with any of it. I don't think you're gonna hurt my feelings, whatever one you think. I mean,
either way, I just don't think there's gonna be that many people's gonna follow through with it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's just an expense that some people probably just don't wanna spend.
okay.
What do you think, Daryl?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I mean, like the man that you had referred me to call, I told him I'd get back with him when we had this discussion,
Right.
and when I got all my bids in. And I
And he might be a person that would follow through, I don't know.
He might, yeah. He might. So I'll just do that. I'll for this year at least go to the raw material cost and see how that works.
Yeah, because, you know, by rights, they're kind of paying labor already anyway with the property tax.
Yeah.
So,
And if it benefits the county down the road, I think it's a positive.
Sounds like a winner to me.
but I bet you won't be overly busy.
I don't think so.
There's a pretty good chance.
Well, that is all I had. Unless you all have anything more, I'll be out of here.
No, sir?
What'd you say, Joe?
I got a price here last week to make some cold patch this year. You know, we do it every few years. I mean, they used to do several loads every year and kind of put it down to fix some of the bumpiness and some of the real deep dips and some of the oil chip roads before we oil chip. And I intend to make one load. Basically, what they do is it's about a 10 gallons of oil to 1 ton of rock mixture, and it's like a cold patch mixture. It's so expensive to make that too. I mean, it's going to cost about $16,000 to make one load.
To make a truckload?
It's one load of oil, 1 tanker of oil, which is about 5,500 gallons of oil. I mean, so tons of rock, it would require about 550 tons of rock to make that. So, I mean, the total tonnage of the mixture is more than 550 tons once you mix it up. But 550 tons of rock and 5,500 gallons of oil is what we use. So I'd love to make more of that and try to fix more areas, but again, things are just getting so expensive, it's hard to come up with the money to do it. Anyway, I think I got everything I came with. I will talk to y'all later.
I'm just now coming off of amoxicillin. I had that ear infection, sinus infection. Oh, goodness.
Haley don't have a chance.
I don't know.
You'll be sick tomorrow.
Don't say that, I can't.
3-day
I
weekend.
have a busy week next week, and the week after, I cannot be sick.
Thank you.
Jason?
Thank you.
Alrighty, so those, I just handed out, those are the standard operating procedures of, we had Patrick before he left, he looked over them and he signed off on them, so they were fine. So what I need you guys to do, basically what these SOPs do is basically stats, standard lines of what people can and cannot do. It has our positions, kind of a description of what we do, how we respond, everything everything down to uniform, hygiene, just a little bit of everything in there. So, if you guys can read through them,
Okay.
if you have any questions, you can ask me, of course. At the back, I'll need the board chair and the vice chair. Let you guys read them and say they're okay to sign off on them. The reason why is I want us to be able to say that you guys have looked at them. Of course, the state's attorney looked at them from a legal standpoint, so we have something to go off of, especially if we ever have to punish one of our volunteers. I don't want to say punish, but reprimand one of the volunteers. But
We'll take a look at it and get back with you on it.
yeah, I mean, I hate to have, actual rules for people, but I mean, in order to create, law and order, you have to have them. So, just as our criminal laws are. But once you guys do approve them, we can come back up, and I have the original copy, the one that Patrick signed here in my hand. So, I can make copies when I hand them out to our volunteers. If at all, if you guys can look at them this week, until next Tuesday, or the next meeting, if you have any questions, you can ask them. But I'd like if you could have them signed off by then, so I can get them out that Tuesday night, because we have a volunteer meeting. We're going to go over them, make sure everybody's on the same page at that standpoint.
Okay, we'll do that.
Next thing is we have FEMA has what's called, well, it's Homeland Security has what's called GITS and WPS. GITS is a government emergency telecommunications service, and WPS is a wireless priority service. What this is, that's a cup for you, Gerald, Jason. I have an extra copy for you here if you want.
Sure.
Look, this is here. We're killing trees nowadays. All right, so been working with Homeland Security to get us approved, and as emergency management being the authorized administrator for the GITS WPS program for Massachusetts County. So what that does is, let's say we have a natural disaster hit. You can't get out on your cell phone because the lines are busy. What you can do is on your cell phone, dial *227 and tap the number in that you're trying to call, and you jump in front of everybody else. Now, so of course, once your account is signed, once we get you signed up for your wireless account signed up, you dial *227 and you're above everybody else, because I'll issue out a card to you with all your information in it, and your wireless account will already be signed up once we get to that part, and you'd bypass all the regular subscribers. Landlines, the GITS part of it, you get a little card you keep on you. Anywhere you have dial tone, you dial a certain code sequence in, and automatically will let you get out. So you won't hear a busy signal. You might for a couple minutes while it puts you in the queue, but you get jumped in front of everybody else. So that is something else we have now. I have another tool in the toolkit. I'll pass out the forms. What you can do, I want to offer this to the county employees. Now the county employees, what will have to happen is the department heads will have to sign off on them, because I will keep a list. And so once that employee is terminated, I do need to be notified when an employee is terminated. So of course we don't have just everybody on this system. Now cell phones, when we sign you up, I do need when you sign the paperwork, you do have to have your account number. There may be a $10 charge on there, but usually when you sign up, they usually waive it. But if it is, just call them and say, hey, this is, we're signing up for this through emergency management. But it will allow people to, it will allow you to communicate to whoever you need to communicate. If we do declare a state of emergency for the county, and we have a lot of things going on, communications is the first thing usually to go out in any disaster.
So what does it start what?
*227 on your cell phone, and on landlines, there's a little card that gives you all the numbers you have to call.
This says.
This says 272.
Is it 272?
If we had an emergency right now, we'll be able to get through.
Oh,
I'm wrong number.
I've got a meeting one thing, excuse me. I guess I'm being dyslexic today. Alright, here are the papers on the back. Of course, you guys are the heads of the county, so I don't have to worry about anything. Y'all have you, but just go ahead and fill it out, and I can get everybody's information sent up, and they'll send me a card, send me all your information, and I'll drop it all off to you guys. That, I think that is, that's what I want to talk to you guys about for that part. I did go to Mark Hunter's office today.
Good.
Well, where his outlet in his wall for his internet, it was still plugged into the old DJK system. So I went down to the basement and got it swapped over. He's working fine.
Good, thank you.
So he's good there.
Is he aware of it?
He's in court.
Okay.
He's in court. I'm watching him a text message. I just got back.
But you text him and let him know?
Not yet.
Okay.
I just got back.
That's no problem.
So the courthouse over there. I know you told me to go into the basement and look at it and see.
Kind of organize it.
Well, we need racks. Everything's just sitting on the shelf. You can't really organize anything when they're all just
Right.
sitting on this shelf. We need to look at getting stand-up racks to put everything in. This way it's organized and we can label everything. Because the way it's at now, even if I was to get it, it still look like a rat's nest.
You want to explain to them? Because I know we talked
So
about it.
the basement, the way it's set up, and I don't know if have you ever been down the basement, the large courtroom, the annex?
I've been in the courtroom.
There's a little utility room where all the network is, and everything. It's literally a rat's nest down there. We have all our phone modems from Comcast. They're just sitting up on our side. I mean, somebody gets knock it and everything go out. What we need is basically data racks in there where we can put everything in and all be organized, labeled, and if somebody touches it, it's not going to fall over and knock out the whole phone system.
This is getting back to, remember when Ted said that water came in? So this is when I talked to him about it. He's just getting down there now. That's why we're concerned about it. One of the reasons.
I might have a picture.
Just trying to make it where it's less chance of any issue.
Gets lit.
That's what it looks like now.
Well, all that stuff's on the floor.
Yeah.
And there was water up to the wood there underneath it, right? Correct?
I didn't see the live.
Yeah, there was. I don't think he's seen it yet.
If that got lit, that'd be a catastrophe.
Lots of money right there.
Yeah.
Lots of money.
80 grand probably or more.
I think it was 120.
Is that what it is?
But a data rack, I could get a lift once it bounce in there. I have somebody come in and drill the concrete, base it down, lock it down the ground, and then we can lift up enough on them to where the water, if it was to get up, it wouldn't really affect it much. That's something we really need to look at. That's a lot of money, a lot of investment in there. And I know insurance, they already love us now from the sheriff's office getting struck by lightning, so I have to replace all that. So
Can you get us a price on what that rack and stuff like that would be? And
Yeah.
let us know.
we can do that.
Yeah, but try to make that a priority for us.
Yeah.
And also, I know I've talked about the treasurer's office and the way that they're using FICA now. They're using a separate system, a separate computer workstation to access FICA compared to their normal when they're going into IC10, which is the financial system through Tyler. That we need to see about migrating everything into one system, because going through Windows XP, now everything keeps. Joey's like, well, it all worked before. It's starting to slowly have issues. It's the setup. It's basically that was a Band-Aid fix. It's not a permanent fix. And the security part of it, Windows XP is no longer supported. So we need to look at trying to migrate everything into one system, one workstation, instead of them having to go from one to this to one to that. I know you go between 2 to 3 computers over there in your office.
Two, just on mine.
Yeah, just for FICA, and then you go over to the financial system. So we need to look into that. Some virus software, and remapping out the whole network system, because it's confusing and honestly, it's a big security risk. The setup we have now, to tell you how much of a risk we have set up, somebody could come go down in the basement, plug on into our stuff without us knowing it, and they can hack it. They can literally get into the software for IC10 and know all the financials for the county. Anything that's stored on any of the servers. because there's nothing really, I think maybe the assessor's office is all right, but the setups that we have, it's very big. I mean, they get into the server for how they do all their personal information. I mean, I really want to stress that we need to look at security, because in today's day and time, we think about Russia, they're not going to come after Massac County and look at our stuff. Believe it or not, there's people out there that really want to know what we do. So we need to look into, I know we are financially strained on some levels, but at some point in time, setting aside the money to come in and buy these appliances to secure it. I'm right now, our emergency management, we're okay, because I was able to get some stuff through the grant. But as we go through, the rest of the offices need to look at, honestly, we just need a pool, so we can just put everything in a central location.
Do you have an
Everything's
estimate in your mind, what you think that would cost?
central. I don't have to tell me, there's maybe,
5,000, 10,000, 20,000?
I'm gonna say maybe, that's just though, be safe and say maybe below 10,000.
It just gives us an idea.
We'll get us some pricing on it, because definitely need to look at doing it.
Yeah, and when we get the courthouse, even when we go and bring the state's attorney back in, all the courts back into this building, we want to make sure we keep, I know I hate to say it, our offenders, make sure their information still stays secure too. It's like, somebody got into our 911 system over there, we of course, Keith takes all care of all that, but, security is a major thing. You got any questions for me from emergency management?
No, we'll read over this information and fill this out for you by next
Okay.
week.
I did resubmit I've been talking with Chris Pulley about the EMPG grant. We had a kickback because of certain areas. I do want to let you know, all the reoccurring fees that were attached that we got out of the nuclear grant, that they turned around, was coming out of there when we got those monies. I've pushed everything into the EMPG grant to where it's 50. We'll get at least 50% reimbursement back on it. So all the expenses that were reoccurring monthly that were coming out of the nuclear are now going to be pulled out of the EMPG grant as long as they approve it. Which Chris said there shouldn't be an issue. Also on the EMPG grant, I included it's considered under office security, EOC security, for closed circuit television, the cameras, and then access control for the door down there. So instead, we do have some interesting people that do come to the courthouse at times, and to secure that office with as much money as in there right now with our communications, we're making it to where it's proximity badge. You take a badge and you can go in and out, and we can record who comes in and out of that office, as long as you guys are okay for us.
How much is that gonna cost?
Oh, I can do it,
Okay.
and so it's under for the access control. It's maybe $1,200, and then the EMPG gonna cover half that. But I did make it higher, like 5,000, just in case. But we always ask for more money, but we never need it. But I can do all that. Cameras, are really cheap for basic ones, but it's just to secure that office. Going for us for EOC. As we start handling more and more sensitive information that can come through there, and securing that office, especially for sales, of being able to.
When is he going to give you an idea if that grant's going to go through?
Oh, well, he said there shouldn't be an issue with it.
This is the matching grant, right?
Yes,
We
the
spend
EMPG,
70,
the
we spend 70, we get 35 back. Is that the max on it?
Yeah, around that,
Is what it was?
Yeah, and then also there's a lot of variables that do go into the EMPG grant. It goes off your population. The state would,
Until the shutdown's over, we're probably not going to get anything anyway, though, correct? Isn't that right, Jason? And all the,
Well, that's what they said with rural development with that grant for the sheriff's office for those vests and things that they're working on.
the EMPG grant, of course, it's always in a reading. It's always on. So we are now submitting for the fourth quarter. Well, it's considered the fifth quarter. I guess fifth or fourth quarter. They are turning around and we're submitting it. We just got a check for $3,000 and some change that I gave to the treasurer's office for 2017. So they're still, they're slow at sending out the checks.
So,
So, I mean, now we did, I think we did get like a 2018 check, at some point early this year, but they did, I guess there was extra money in 2017, like a fifth quarter. That's why they're starting to do it. Evidently, there's a lot of money that is left over, the EPG grants. So we were able to get expenses, a lot extra expenses paid. He did say that if there is money left over, because that's why they're going to do a fifth quarter, because there's always money left over. He said if there was even money left over after they call it a fifth quarter, then there'll be a sixth quarter, and anything extra that wasn't included in the grant, we can try to get reimbursed 50-50. For the vehicles, I also included the Dodge Charger. I don't know where, I guess somebody in the past was told you only claim 2 vehicles on the EPG grant for vehicle reimbursements, for mileage, not mileage, but for repairs. I was able to put that in there, so that will 50% up to $1,000 will be reimbursed to the county for any repairs or maintenance on that vehicle. So now, I was asking Chris about vehicles and what we can do if we need to get a new vehicle. He said that the EPG grant will cover, usually can cover up to 50% on new vehicles, as long as we word it in the right way in the grant. And so, I mean, you know how you just gotta make it sound good, what you're using it for, like for exercises or whatever. So that is a possibility. I know he said Alexander County was Hamilton County, the way they did it. And he said for me to follow up with Hamilton County and see the exact way that they did was able to get reimbursed for that vehicle 50% in the future, maybe for the 2020 year. Maybe start right for that grant. But I did some altering, and he looked over it again before he submitted it up to Springfield, and then hopefully in just a couple days we'll see what they kick it back because I didn't do something right or whatever. But all the salaries we put in there will be covered 50%. So that's always good. And hopefully at some point a nuclear grant we can maybe start getting that back to be able to.
yeah, I'd like to have a 100% grant.
I would
Something we don't have to spend and wait 2 years to get our half back. Wouldn't you, Joe?
Be nice, wouldn't
It'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the EOC grant they paid out really quick. They paid real quick on the EOC grant. But, I mean, it's, I was talking over, I will let you guys know some good news. AREVAC is putting a base in at Paducah, the old PHI base next to Mercy Regional EMS. They'll be putting a helicopter in there and it'll be licensed for Illinois, and that will be our helicopter.
Didn't they have the one over there one time?
Yeah, PHI. And then they
PHI. It's up there between exit 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's Mercy Bay, next to Mercy. PHI left because, honestly, I hate to say it, I know I'm on camera, but they suck. Nobody ever, they didn't want to fly. I mean, we all know flying in rough weather is dangerous to begin with, but if there was a snowflake just on the ground, they wouldn't fly. But AREVAC is really good. We was talking to them, and they said they're going to be licensed for Illinois, so that right there, that's going to cut our flight time down a lot when we call for a bird. It's going to be within the next 3 to 4 months, possibly, when the base is going to be open. Once it is open, I was talking with their guy. I'm going to try to do a countywide LZ class and more of a PR thing. Everybody come out and meet the crews. We'll lend a helicopter and then let everybody come see and meet, and then you can sign up for their membership. They have I don't know if you've heard their membership where you pay like $65 a year for your household, $65 to $85 a year for your household, and you're covered to be flown.
Yeah, I remember with that sticker on your car.
Yeah, I just signed up myself. I used to be a PHI member, and they left. Then I was there, but anyways, they'll be coming in. The next in bird, we can have, I think it's either Harrisburg or Sykeston. Next AREVAC bird will come out of. But they told us they can have up to 30 helicopters swarming this area within under 30 minutes. So that's good if we were to have something. We on the Marshall County High School shooting, the pilot, his name's Riley Johnson, I think. I went to school with him over there. He's actually he was a pilot today at the Marshall County High School shooting. He was teaching the LZ class the other night. He was there. And he said they had 15 birds swarming, and then they can get to 30 really quick if needed. So that's a really good asset for us to have for the county. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of your hair. Hope you guys get feeling better.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.